What's up, y'all? Happy Sunday. Um, I am James. I am so happy to be here with you guys. Welcome to a new episode of Open Letters to a Survivor. Uh, it's going to be an amazing night. Open Letters to a Survivor has become a space where the truth is spoken gently, healing is honored, and survivors are allowed to simply be. To simply be. Tonight's episode is going to be a little different. It's going to be a lot different. It's not going to be a panel tonight. I know you all are so used to it being a panel of the ladies. Uh, Everybody is out making magic tonight. They are. Listen, I'm gonna just let the cat out the bag. Like they got a movie going on. They are filming some stuff. This queen right here, I'm gonna say to the left of me, even though on my side she's to the right of me. This queen right here has already filmed some parts. Listen, I know without even knowing all the details, I know it's going to be amazing. And Lady Poet herself is filming tonight. She's been filming for quite a bit of time today, so she is not going to be on the show or with us tonight. I was getting ready to say her government name. Hell, Kim. She's got some things going on family wise, so she's not going to be with us tonight. But we send our prayers. We send our prayers, strong prayers to Kim. We know she's got a lot of faith going on and centered around her, and she's got a lot of stuff happening. So we definitely send that out to her. But listen, we got Phoenix Storm with us tonight. I am so excited. Give me a second. Look, you was ready. I saw you getting ready. So anyway, tonight is going to be a whole lot different. Tonight is a moment. It's a moment in time. As we move through a season that can feel heavier than most, we are creating space for conversations around grief and seasonal affective disorder, the quiet struggles that often go unseen, yet they are deeply felt. Leading us through tonight's reflection is someone who understands how to hold space with intention, with vulnerability, and with care. So please join me in welcoming our newest co-host to Open Letters to a Survivor, Phoenix Storm, who is going to guide us through a personal monologue-styled show that is centered on loss, emotional weight, and the strength that it takes to keep moving forward where the light feels very dim. Whether you're listening from home, whether you're in your car, wherever you may be, we invite you to slow down a little bit, take a breath, and receive this moment. This is Open Letters to a Survivor, and tonight the floor belongs to Phoenix Storm. So now it's all on you, Queen.
Good evening. Tonight, this space is intentional. I want to start by opening it with a prayer. God, we pause in this moment with open hearts. Thank you for every listener who made it here, carrying stories, scars, hope, and questions. Meet us exactly where we are. Let these words be gentle where there is pain, steady where there is uncertainty, and light where there has been heaviness. Remind us that surviving is sacred, healing is possible, and living fully is still allowed. Cover this space with grace, honesty, love, and intention. Amen. Um, Moving into our intentional space. Tonight's show is about holiday grief. We all often sit in that space trying to figure out how do we get to the next space. Before we move forward, I want to read a letter to our survivors of life, loss, and grief. To the survivor listening today, yes, you, yes, me. As we step into this holiday season, I want to pause the noise around you, around us, the expectations, the memories, the weight we've been carrying, and speak directly to our hearts. Before anything else, I need you to recognize something powerful. Just like myself, you still here. You survived what tried to break you. You walked through storms that nobody saw. You endured grief of people, relationships, dreams, stability, and versions of yourself you thought would last forever. You learned to keep moving even when your heart felt shattered, even when finances were stretched thin, even when family felt distant, even when the world felt too heavy for your spirit. And yet, like myself, you are still here. Maybe this season doesn't feel warm or bright. Maybe you're entering it with a quiet ache that you don't talk about. Maybe the holidays remind you of what you lost, what changed, or what you're still hoping for. Maybe the light outside feels dim compared to the darkness you fought inside. But hear me clearly. You have not failed. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You've survived long enough to reach a moment you weren't sure you would get to see. And now it is time, gently, slowly, intentionally, to feel, heal, and live. Feel what's real for you without shame. Heal at your pace, in your way, for your peace. Live in a way that honors the resilience that carried you here. Your survival is not small. Your strength is not accidental. Your breath is proof of purpose. So as the season begins, I want you to give yourself permission to exist without performing, to rest without apologizing, to hope without fear, and to believe, truly believe that you deserve joy, softness, support, and what life feels like. You deserve peace. This letter is your reminder. You have survived every single thing that once told you you wouldn't, and your story is far from over. You deserve to feel, heal, and live. With love and compassion and an honor for your journey, the ladies of Open Letters to Survivor and myself, Phoenix Storm, with intention. Feel, heal, and live. You deserve it on purpose. Moving into our topic of discussion. As I was reading the letter, I often reference myself along with you because I'm no different than you. It's a we in this thing. We often pick up stress, problems, long before we even reach them. The holidays, I must say, this past holiday, Thanksgiving, was a little difficult. One, I was missing my mother, grieving relationships with my children, some with friends, even with myself. Like in that letter, oftentimes we equate grief with just one thing, and it's several things. The holidays are tough. You know, Christmas and Thanksgiving were my mom's, favorite holidays, and how do you navigate year after year when holidays come up? It's supposed to be family gatherings, joyous moments and occasions, but you have stress and strain. How do you navigate through that? Do you surround yourself with like-minded people? Do you isolate yourself? Do you talk with somebody who's sharing the same space as you? How do we figure it out? This year, I was asked, how was I going to spend my Thanksgiving? And in full transparency, I said I didn't want to be bothered. And I was reminded that when my light felt a little dim, turn that lantern on. Turn that lantern on as a reminder that I have a support system to help me get through the grief. As Christmas is approaching, You know, we have people that know how to manage grief. They go through therapy. They find activities to participate in, you know, feeding the homeless or less fortunate. Or just quietly sitting with yourself. Self-awareness. You know, what do you feel? How are you feeling? Why do you feel this way? You know, it's hard. It's hard to navigate these type of feelings and emotions. Some we don't understand, some we do. Some I was reminded from a viewer a couple weeks ago about navigating through grief when some experience mental inability to do so. You know, the way I may be able to navigate my grief experiences, somebody else can't. And how would I be able to help them with that? Just like the letter says, sometimes you have to meet people where they are. You can't expect people to be you. You can't expect their grieving experience to look like yours. Sometimes people just don't know how. They don't know how. And sometimes you have to take the time to help others learn from you, but in their own way. You have to give people grace. You have to have patience with people. You have to have patience with people, because you know some people be frustrated, they can't handle it. Guess what? Somebody had patience with you a time or two. You got to give yourself grace. You got to give others grace. You got to give yourself permission to step into the world in shoes of somebody else. One of the biggest things for me, I'm an empath. I feel things deeply, highly intense. So if my feelings shift this holiday season, I feel that intensely. And having a support system, that village we often talk about, even a therapist, because I have one. I do. I can't do this all by myself. I rely on my faith and spirituality. So you have those prayer partners, prayer circles. That's also a big help. You know, even though you have strained relationships with your kids, sometimes your kids can offer you some words of encouragement or wisdom, or just sit in silence to shift your mood, to shift your thoughts, to make things better, to make you not focus on what you lost, but focus on what you have right in front of you right now. Learning that, you know, every loss isn't to destroy you. Some losses that you take become eye openers, become game changers, become the fire that you need to take you to the next level. It could be for understanding. It could be for growth. It could be for growth. Holidays, back to the holidays, we deal with a lot of depression and anxiety. You know, it gets dark, it's cold, we more on the inside than we are on the outside. People don't gather as much. People tend to be to themselves. And that's when a lot of the depression and anxiety, mood disorders, they heighten because of the isolation and seclusion. So if you notice somebody's being a little more secluded, a little more isolated, a little more reserved, be intentional about pulling them out of that darkness. If you're not sure, ask questions. Check the temperature of the room. Invite a person out. Hey, let's get some coffee. Hey, you want to play some cards? Hey, how are you feeling today? Not just, I'm okay. How are you really feeling? And you can't be having those conversations with people if you're not willing to also be transparent. You too have to do the work. You can't be expecting somebody to communicate with you and be forthcoming if you're not willing to do the same. That's unfair. It's unfair. You know, you want people to trust you as you should be a safe space for them to trust also. If I could offer anything in this holiday season, I would say kind of get in tune with yourself. If you feel the shift like I did, I didn't want to be bothered and I said it out loud, you know, and making the decision to tell somebody like, hey, I ain't feeling this, you know, this holiday season, I just want to be by myself. And having that safe space to remind you like, hey, no, let's talk about it. You know, what would your mother want you to do? What would you do different moving forward? How could you stay out of this space? You know, a lot of times, you know, people lean on family. I don't have a big family. My mother's side, you know, it's just her and her sister, which only resulted to my siblings and my cousin. You know, I have a large family on my dad's side, but life is life. Everybody has families. Everybody has their own thing going on. And, you know, such as James reminded me earlier, we all navigating this thing through life, called life. We all got things going on. We can't always be everything to everybody. But being more intentional about showing up when you see that somebody hasn't showed up in a long time. Start asking the questions like, where they at? Why they ain't around? Sometimes it's a reason and sometimes it's not. But be more intentional about checking on your strong people. Because strong people need people too. I've always been a person that be there for everybody. For anything, any reason, I'm there. I'm dependable. I'm reliable. But when I'm in need, a person don't know because they're used to me always being the strong one. You know, I don't think that people realize the strong people need permission to be human and to feel unapologetically without pressure. You know, it's oftentimes you be like, check on them strong ones. Because them strong ones be the ones that be suffering in silence because they carrying everybody else's stuff in addition to what they're already carrying that don't nobody ask about, that don't nobody even know about. We just keep going. And when you keep going, holding on to pain, hurt, disappointment, letdown, when you sitting in all of that stuff and you taking on everybody else's stuff, that's a recipe for disaster. If you don't know how to put that down, if you don't have nobody to help you with the outlet, to figure it out. I was reminded not to just sit in the loss, especially like, you know, with my mom, my grandmother, a lot of people embark on the memories. You know, it don't always have to be sadness. You know, when you in the kitchen cooking dinner, a song may come on. Instead of crying, try to dance through it. It's okay to dance in tears. It's okay to mix a cake. Shaking your head because you just miss them. It's okay to bow your head every once in a while when that memory show up and you be like, my loved one would have been sitting right there at that table. Or that loved one would be at the door bringing in a cake or a pie. I think we should be more intentional about not just celebrating people when they gone, they can't receive their flowers. Be more intentional about showing up for people that's here. Be more intentional about showing people you love them and you care before it get to this thing called loss and grief. You know, we oftentimes show up for people all at the funeral. Guess what? Them people you crying over, you hollering about, you rolling in the floor, they don't know none the wiser because you didn't tell them when they was here. So now you got to sit in that guilt because you should have told them, but you didn't. You could have told them, but you didn't. And now you got to live with, why didn't I? I think that a lot of people have experienced loss this week. I know they have experienced the loss of life this week. People are losing their homes. People are losing battles to illnesses. People are losing the mental health battles. People are losing out financially. They're losing employment, their way of living. So grief as a very broad spectrum. You know, be kind to people because you don't know what somebody is going through. You know, I was talking to somebody about their loss this week and having the conversation. I was told that, you know, people don't understand that you too may be grieving a similar situation. You just don't publicize it. You don't use it for attention getting or attention seeking. You're just trying to navigate through it. So you do it quietly. But while you're doing it quietly, you're dying on the inside because you're carrying so much weight. And you don't have nobody to help you through that or to help you carry that. Yeah, we all have our own luggage and baggage to carry. But it's a little lighter when you have someone to sit with you to unpack some of those things. Another area of loss and grief that I got to talk about is the ups and downs that parents and children go through because the lack of understanding that they have for the loads that parents carry. We as parents lose ourselves trying to provide financially, emotionally, physically, mentally, the whole parental responsibility. We lose ourselves trying to provide for our children that don't know what it takes to be a parent. You grieve who you were before you became a parent because you get so lost in parenting, trying to make sure your children don't experience the hardships, the dysfunction, the chaos, the lack of structure, the lack of discipline. You lose yourself trying to provide all of those things so your children don't know what that looks like. And when you do provide that, you then find yourself in another grief because guess what? they now have a sense of entitlement. Because when you say no, they don't have no understanding. And because there's no understanding of what parents sacrifice, what they go through, what they lose, so that they have, parent-children relationships become estranged. They go no contact. Things become difficult. You have the shift. You have the disrespect. All for the sake of a child to say, you my mother, you my father, you supposed to. I didn't ask to come here. Being a parent that has been on the receiving end of that, that is a whole nother level of grief. That's a whole nother level of grief. Because you walking through this world and you sacrifice so much. And it's like, how dare you? But the transparent moment, I used to be one of them kids. Now my mother ain't here. Guess what? Guess what? I'm getting it back. So I'm walking through what I kind of took her through. But it's called learning by trial and error. Be more intentional, myself. Be more intentional about having uncomfortable conversations, difficult conversations for that matter. Sometimes we as people, mothers, fathers, children, we as people in general, we more comfortable with listening to what we want to hear other than what we need to hear. And people that often give us that yes, 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 going along with the program, they doing us an injustice. They enabling us. Don't enable me to sit and suppress my feelings. Don't enable me to sit and tell you I'm okay when I know I'm not. I had a friend remind me 2 weeks ago. She said to me, I am so proud of you. She said, I know you. I see you. I remember when. I remember when you told me back in high school you were okay. When you were walking through the phases of your mom's addiction. I remember you told me you was all right, but I knew you wasn't. And because she was my friend, she sat in them spaces with me. She sat in them bathrooms in high school crying with me. And she said, of all that you carried, I didn't let you sit in that. You told me you didn't tell people your story. You didn't tell people what you was going through. You didn't tell people how you felt because you felt nobody cared. Nobody would listen. And she said, and look at you today. Because you chose not to keep your story private. Because you chose to be transparent. You changing people's minds. You're changing people's thought process. You helping somebody because you came out on the other side. So not let nobody sit in life's grief will change your life, will change their life, will save somebody's life. She reminded me that she saw me 30 years ago. 30 years ago when I could barely hold my head up, where I had tears in my eyes telling people I was okay when I knew I wasn't. I had a high school teacher step in, my forever earth angel. Felicia Austin did not let me sit in life grief when I wanted to give up and say I wasn't graduating high school. She ain't let me sit in that grief. She didn't allow me no excuses. She pushed me to not give up. And today, I'm here because people didn't let me sit in that. People pushed me when I didn't want to be pushed. They respected where I was. They met me there, but they didn't allow me to sit in the dark. They didn't allow me to sit in the dark. So if my story of how to navigate grief, how to navigate life disappointments, life heartbreaks, all I can offer, don't sit in that. Don't sit in that. If you got a trusted support system, village, safe space, utilize that as much as you can. Because sometimes you have people to lift you when you can't lift yourself. You have people that will pray you out and pray you through when you don't even have the words to utter a prayer. Your tears is all you have. I've had those days, a lot of those days this year. And I mean a lot. I stood in obedience, and I keep saying it because it was times I wanted to sit in the dark. It was times I wanted to shut down. It was times I didn't want to talk to nobody. It was time people were saying stuff that I did not want to hear. It was stuff that people were saying to me I didn't agree with. But I had to be obedient and say, no, you can't stay in this space. Can't stay here. That pain, that gut-wrenching feeling, me begging God to bring me out, helped me elevate to a whole different level of understanding of what this grief thing is and what my purpose and calling for it is. It's because I can put myself in somebody else's shoes today. Back then I couldn't, but now I understand. I understand. Everything that I go through and have gone through was preparation for today. As long as I'm feeling, long as I got feeling, I'm feeling something, emotion stirred up, I know I'm alive. And as long as I know I'm alive, I still have the chance to heal the stuff that I once buried. And when I work through, address, that gives me the freedom to live. Because I'm no longer held in bondage by pain, disappointment, and letdown. And here is the thing. My God, here is the thing. We disappoint ourselves by having and putting expectations on people we later learn they can't meet. Placing expectations on people will disappoint you because they can't meet an expectation that they didn't know you placed on them. Me having to know I can't expect me from them and they can't expect me, you know what I'm saying, for them is vice versa. You know, what I may do, somebody else may not, and what somebody else may do, I may not. But you have to meet people where they are. You know, like DMX said, you got to trust people to be who they are. If they're a liar, then they'll be a liar. If they're a thief, then they're a thief. Trust them to be them. Know who you're dealing with and deal with them accordingly. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You prevent further grief by dealing with people as they are. Giving people the benefit of the doubt. Giving them room to make corrections. We talk about grief. Guess what? When people go on and people wrong you, people die, you got to forgive them. Not for them, but for you. For you. being angry. Anger is another part of grief. You be so mad. You be mad. Why did you leave me here? Why did I lose my job? I was healthy 2 months ago. Why my loved one got cancer? Why my loved one have a stroke? Why? You got to deal with bargaining. Well, God, we'll do better if you do this. Or I ain't going to do this because you did that. It's having an understanding of things that's beyond our control. Guess what? Some things in this thing called life, we don't have no control over. Like we don't have control over people, places, or things. We don't have no control over that. You can only control you and what you do and how you do things. We give a lot of people power over us. Our situations, our actions, our reactions. I've learned a lot this season, not just this holiday season, but this year, about these different griefs, these levels of grief, expectations, letdowns, disappointments. I'm talking about walking through it. But what saved me from drowning further in grief to a point where I could not get out in a space I've visited before, I made the choice to allow somebody to help me through it, to allow myself to enter into counseling when some of those safe spaces didn't work, to learn more about me, to learn to unpack and heal some things that I had suppressed, tucked, and put down. I had to learn. Sometimes when we choose to choose us, choose self-awareness, choose self-love, we place ourselves in better positions. I think last year when I did the opening month for the grief series, I spoke about when my mom passed away, I felt like a piece of me died that day. But I knew from a previous grieving experience with my grandmother that I couldn't stay there. My mother wouldn't have wanted that for me. So from that day to this, I've made the choice to consistently get up every day, even when it may be difficult, even when I don't have the answers, even though things are out of my control. Just by making the choice to say, I can't let today be like yesterday because it's a new day. And because I don't know what tomorrow looks like, I can only stay in the moment. I have somebody very close to me, very close to me. And he always reminds me to stay in the moment. And for a while, sometime this year, I got away from staying in the moment. And that's when all hell and chaos broke loose. And because of that, when things shifted and I was reminded to stay in the moment. I freed up a lot of grief. I freed up a lot of overstimulating moments and thoughts. I gathered and gained a lot of peace. I really did. And looking at my children as a reminder that there's always light after darkness. Because of them, I still choose to get up and do this every day. Feel, heal, and live every day. Feel, heal, and live every day. Because what I'm learning, not just those three, other people is counting on me. Other people is counting on me for their healing. Other people is counting on me to help them figure this out. And because it's my calling, I accept it. I accept it. I think that tonight's intentional space may have helped someone. I welcome any and all questions or comments about what grief looked like in not just the holidays, but just in life. For the young man who brought up the comment about those that don't have the mental capacity to navigate grief themselves, asking, what would my suggestion be? My suggestion is meet them where they are. They're still people. They're still human. They still have feelings. Even though their understanding may not look like yours, have grace and patience. Somebody had to have that with you. So, in closing tonight, I would say to Kim, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. Cassandra, in your absence, our thoughts and prayers are with you as well. Lady Poet, we know you're doing some amazing things. We know we keep you covered in prayer as well. And to all our listeners, to Open Letters to a Survivor, be intentional about your journey of grief, whatever it looks like. Be intentional about coming from darkness into the light, because we all deserve to feel, heal, and live with a purpose. And we will be having a motivational moment with Tim in just a moment.
You good over there?
I am.
Listen, I gotta say to you, first of all, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Number one, I'm proud of you for tonight, because this monologue style, like, this was perfect. Like, now I'm gonna talk to Lady Poet, and I'm like, listen, I'm gonna need all of y'all to do like a monologue style episode. I think that this was really, really good. You made a lot of good comments. You made a lot of good comments, and just acknowledging things, acknowledging that you once were that child.
I do not talk about anything I have not experienced. And like I mentioned before, me as a young adult woman,
yeah,
seasoned. However, I said I noticed, I was frustrated with my daughter in all transparency.
Yeah.
Like, what is the anger about? Why are you mad? You wake up mad at the world every day. What is wrong? And I had to sit down in a moment as I was writing my third book. And I'm telling you, it was like a spiritual moment because I just had this feeling come over me where the tears were just overflowing. And I said, God, I know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
I am her. She is me.
Mm-hmm.
I am my mother. She is me.
Mm-hmm.
I recognized that one girl, that one that I just said, people came and saved me.
Mm-hmm.
That anger, I had that because I was sitting with so much grief, so much responsibility on my shoulders that was given to me long before I knew what the word responsibility was. Or I was drowning in that. So I get that. And when you place expectations on somebody's shoulders that they cannot meet.
Mm-hmm.
So when I recognize that's my younger self.
Yeah.
So my mama had to have patience with me. Now, did she have discipline and structure when the sobriety came? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I got to see a different side. So because somebody had patience with my ass, I have to extend that grace because I understand what that looks like and what's sitting in that. So thank you for pointing that out because I'm not perfect.
And that's the thing is none of us are. And a lot of times your kids they just want to see that you get it. They just want to see that you get it. And, as you sat down and then, it really came to you. I think that's perfect. And the thing is so many people who are dealing with that. I just had something similar with my son like a month ago, and it wasn't on that level, but it was like, why are you so angry? Like, why are you mad? Like everything I say, you'd be like, why are you?
And then you say back and you be like,
and then I sat down and I'm like, and then, obviously having a conversation with him and, as things started coming out, it was just like, I get it. I actually get it.
And I remind my children, I don't say all the right things.
Yeah.
I don't always do all the right things and I always get it right. But this is a process.
Yeah, absolutely.
You parent as you go. You know what I'm saying?
You do it as you go.
It's trial and error. And
that's what I was going to say. You said that
actually. With what you have. You try to make things different from your childhood experience. But when you do that, our kids are really living life, right?
Yeah.
They're living life. They're getting the reward, but we're doing the work.
Yeah.
They're not gonna learn.
Yeah.
They're not gonna learn.
And they're
when I say
working
enable a child,
like they're not working nearly as hard as what we did and how we were when we came up, and times are just it's so different now.
And when you enable a child, guess what? They have that sense of entitlement. I don't have to do nothing because my mama gonna figure it out. That's just like me studying for a test. You get the diploma, and I've been up all night studying. Yeah. Make that crap make sense.
Uh-huh.
Like, but that's just like, but as a parent, like when you start to realize that, because I'm telling you, like me, I'm mad. I'm gonna be 100%. I'm pissed. Yeah. Like, so we sitting in this space because you feel like I'm your mother and I have to. I'm supposed to. You give me the kiss, and then you turn around and need me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how that go.
Yeah.
But it's when you offer the guidance and the structure and the discipline, they take what they want from it, use it how they see fit. And when it don't work out, like we try to navigate, now you mad at me.
Yeah.
And now you mad at me.
Yeah. And that's
we as parents, when we say, you know what? I'm gonna bow out gracefully. Now you mad at me. But then we as parents, now we got anxiety. Now we got knots in our stomach. Now we stressed out. Right. And here's the thing, they don't give a damn.
Yeah.
It'll upset your day. You at work, stressed out, headache, got the clock out, about to go home, tear up the house. They living their life. So at what point do we take responsibility and say, you know what, tough love is the best love?
I'm trying to tell you. And it's like this conversation was it was so necessary. It's so needed. I know it's helped so many people. But I commend you for taking the stage and doing this. I think that this was absolutely necessary. I guarantee you, I'm gonna talk to Lady Poet. Like, y'all all need to do this because it's like a sense of release. It's like a sense of release. I love how you talked about
it's transparency. You know, you can't be talking to people about something like you ain't going through nothing.
Absolutely. And we all are dealing with stuff, all going through some stuff. And this is that level of authenticity and, you know, that level of transparency. So I think that this was perfect.
Thank you. And you just got to be kind to people because you don't know what the next person is going through. Like it may be a mother going through something at the bus stop on her last leg, about to be stressed all out, like a point being late from work and don't have a job, be able to provide. Be kind. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what a person is going through.
Right.
People go through things, they just make it look good and can have the weight of the world on their shoulders. And it will just take an insensitive comment or a snide remark that will send them straight over the edge. Be kind.
I have seen
it don't cost nothing to be kind to a person. It don't cost nothing to just say, how was your day?
I have seen it. I have seen it firsthand. So like, I commend you for taking this on. I think that it was perfect. I know Tim is down here, and listen, God bless Tim because Tim, y'all usually go from 7 to 8. So Tim been popping in, popping out, popping in, popping out. I know he is ready to get this motivational message going.
Come on, Tim, with the word, because we need a word to follow that.
I think that this was great. So, Tim, you still down there? He probably stepped away or something. I'm sure he'll probably be right back.
There he is.
I also love how you addressed how you got out of that space, because that was going to be my primary question once you finished talking was how did you get out of that space?
I can't, because when you stay in that space, it's like you drowning. You know, it's like you hold your breath and you suffocating. Like at what point do you be like, I just need to breathe. I just need some help. I just need some guidance, some direction. We often want to give all the guidance and direction, but you got to be able to take some.
Yeah, you got to be able to take it. You got to be able to take it.
Listen, it's okay to be a teacher, but you can always teach, but you also got to be willing to learn. Because you got some people be like, I ain't doing that. Teach me, coach. Put me in the game. Teach me.
Yeah, you need people who are going to tell you the truth too, and you talked about that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though I'm gonna be mad about it, let me process it. I'm gonna come back and be like, okay, you was right. But I don't want to hear it. I'm gonna hang up on you. I'm in my feelings. I'm gonna scream and holler, but I'm gonna come back a couple of days. You know what? You was right. Let me thank you for allowing me to process. I understand your feelings, respect your feelings. Now, how you move beyond that, that's a different conversation and topic for another day. But yeah, you can't always have people agreeing with you, because a lot of times you don't be right depending on the headspace you in. So you need somebody that's going to be honest, whether it's what you want to hear or not. But that's what make you grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Tim, you down there?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I see his name. I see his name down there, but I think he must have stepped away or something. All right, we're gonna give him a couple more minutes before we really close out. But no, I think that this was great. How did you feel doing this? Because I know you were kind of nervous going into it.
I feel good about it. It's kind of like therapy. It's kind of like having a conversation with people you don't know. But I only talk about the things that I've experienced. Like I can't, somebody asked me, about the disconnect with my daughter at a time. It's a mother-daughter thing. You're gonna have ups and downs. Everybody's relationship ain't gonna be good. Guess what? She came in this morning like, hey, I need to go to the grocery store. We out at the grocery store 7 o'clock this morning. And was like we out shopping. Now, maybe 2 days from now, I'm gonna be screaming and pulling my hair out. But guess what? That's my child.
Yeah.
That's my daughter. I got 2 sons. That's what they do. That's what we did as kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a whole different feeling when you a parent and you be like, I know I couldn't. I know I wasn't this kind of kid with my mom. Oh, maybe I was, but like, was this her prayer to have this kid cutting up on me like this? If so, like, Mom, you up there, like you can tell God, like, we can control some stuff because this is a little bit too much. But
you said a little bit too much.
Yeah, but I wouldn't trade them for nothing in the world.
Yeah,
so they make me grow. They make me better.
Absolutely, but it sounds like at some point or another there was a barrier there that has been broken.
And not saying that it won't return.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, though.
Just like we talk about, we as parents, they don't want to hear what we always got to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. Parenthood, like that's
what we don't know nothing. We don't know nothing.
What comes along with it. It's like 1 minute they good, and then the next minute they mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think that's like I said, I commend you for taking the steps to figure it out, because it's so many parents out there who won't even go that far. They just say forget
it. And listen. Sometimes, depending on the situation, you can be like, you know what, I got to take my hands off of this. Like, God, I got to give them back to you because they're yours. I need you to help me figure this out. Sometimes you do have to kind of step back from being a parent, not just say in its entirety or literally, but just let me step back for a moment to allow myself to kind of regroup and process what's going on, to allow them time and space to get understanding of what I'm trying to say. We come back to the table.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if there is no resolution, keep at it. Okay. Step back. Let's see how we can figure this out. Come from a different angle. You may talk to somebody that could offer a suggestion or solution to see how we can get on the same page. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't always right. We ain't always right. But we have to come to a middle ground where that there is order about the disorder. You know what I'm saying? And that there's always with purpose, on purpose, and with intentional respect.
Yeah.
Above all else.
Absolutely. No, I think that this was great. And like I said, I'm quite sure that it's helped so many people, who were watching. The weird, like, I saw people on there. It's people in there right now. But don't nobody be wanting to comment. Ain't nobody putting that out there. But I think it's processing. People are processing. And then a lot of times people will comment after the fact. So a lot of times we'll go back and we'll check the comments and whatnot and see what people have put on.
And I'm new to the platform. So they just trying to get a feel for what I bring.
Well, listen, they know who you are now. I think this was amazing. Again, kudos to you, because it takes a lot to, especially when you don't have a guest on with you, to kind of just take the reins and run with it. And I think that, clearly there was enough content there that you could have kept going and going and going. So I appreciate it. I think that this was good. I think it's much needed. I think this platform is much needed. So thank you for being part of the platform. I know this is your second week as co-host. Now, how you feel now as co-host?
This is different. But like I said, Lady Poet said to me, she's been saying it, she was like, I feel like you have a calling. And I kept saying, like, what is this calling? She was like, did you ever think about being a grief coach? You help people navigate through grief and loss. And like I said, it's just not the loss of life, it's the loss of a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just, I don't have all the answers. I'm not.
Yeah, and it's just like you said, it's not just about the loss of life. Like, people are, there's obviously people losing their lives, and we're losing loved ones, but people are losing jobs. People are like, it's a lot of stuff.
They're losing their mental stability, their financial stability, their housing stability, their health. I had someone I talked to earlier this week, and we were talking about how they said, listen, I have not been the same since my illness, and it has been 21 years now. And I said, people don't realize that is a real thing. You go from being healthy to now you have ailments and illnesses, which enable you to, one, be able to be self-sufficient. To now you have to rely on others. To now you have to rely on a system that's playing with your insurance, that's playing with your medication costs.
Mhm.
And with the availability of those that can come in and help you, home health care agencies and support staff, nursing staff, ambulance, transportation. So not having those things, you'll grieve it. That's a loss all this in itself. You know what I'm saying? Grieving the healthy version of you now living with a complicated
Yeah.
version of you sitting with that mind and thought process. This can go either way.
Mhm. All right, let's see. Tim, he sent me a message in the chat almost 10 minutes ago. I've been messaging them back saying we ready for you, Tim. Now I don't know where Tim at.
So let's see.
Let's see. Okay, Tim got about 3 more minutes. So you down there, Tim? Oh, now he done, look. Now he done popped out. So let's see. Maybe it was something with his thing, and maybe he was talking and we just couldn't hear him or whatever. So I'll see if he pops in.
So did he?
Let's see. Here we go. I'm
Oh,
like he said. He said he down there. I keep saying we ready for you, Tim.
yeah, I was still in the backstage, but I accidentally hit done, and I came back, and I'm here with you all. I was hearing a lot of great things as well too.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, we appreciate you for sticking around because I know Showtime is, obviously 7 to 8, and we pushed it back to 7:30. So I didn't know if you got that message that we weren't starting until 7:30, but we appreciate you for hanging out. The message is much needed, man.
Yeah. I was at first I was on the way home when I got the message, and I'm like 7:30 to 8:30. I don't know, but I know jumping on anyway, and I'm glad I did because
Yeah,
that's a
listen,
nice
we glad
message.
you're here, man. Yeah, we are glad you're here. You said you see that one of the new queens. She has taken
Yep,
the reins and she kind of ran it all by herself tonight.
that was
Thank,
good. You did a good job. Did a good
thank
job. You was preaching. That was a good
Oh yeah.
job.
All right,
Yeah,
so we'll let you
everybody.
go ahead and take it away, Tim.
It was pretty much you said pretty much the motivational minute, but the piggyback on what you said was great because I mean a lot of times in life you go through different things. You got to be willing to know it's okay to lean on people, and it's okay to ask for help. Don't hold anything inside of you, but always hold on to some hope, and most importantly, hope from the Lord, knowing that it might be dark. You might have a dark situation. You might go through, have some troubles, and the troubles seeming to get worse and worse and worse. But know that one day you will get through it. You won't just sit in it, but you will get through it as well too. As one of my favorite books of the Bible is Nehemiah, and Nehemiah knew his calling, and he didn't have any qualifications of that calling at first. A lot of evil people try to get in his way, but he knew that the gracious hand of God was upon him, and he knew that no matter what, he will not come down from doing the great work. So I encourage everybody to know that no matter what, just know if you are in right standing with the Lord, if you gave the Lord your life, that you ought to know, and I'm encouraging you to know each and every day that the greater hand of God is upon you, and you can do anything that God is calling you to do. This world may try to get in your way, life may try to get in your way, but know that God's hand will ultimately guide you through that dark path and bring you into a much lighter path. And also know that as I love what Job said, that before he slay me, yet will I trust him. No matter what's going on, I'm still going to trust the Lord, because if you put all your trust and dependence in the Lord, he will ultimately take you on the path that'll be the best path in life. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not to your own understandings, but in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. But always know, hold on to that great hope from the Lord, knowing that nothing is gonna stop you from doing what he is calling you to do. It's gonna always be obstacles try to stop you, but know that God will ultimately bring you through. Just continually hold on to that great hope. That great hope, knowing that it's going to be a brighter day yet to come. It's going to be something great in store for you. Don't think that that trouble and that heartache and pain is going to stay there. Just know that God will ultimately bring you through. He'll ultimately bring people in your life to help you get through, because you're never going to be in this alone. You're never alone when you're in Christ Jesus. He'll give you great people to be in your life, and you'll know who they are, good people just right for you. But ultimately know that you're not in this alone. Don't hold it back. Don't hold it inside. Be willing to let it out, and somebody will help you, bring you back up and help you get through whatever you're going through. Hold on to that great hope, knowing that someday God will allow his great will to ultimately go through and get you through whatever you're going through in life. Hold on to that great hope, knowing that one day it's going to be a brighter day yet to come. God bless you and God keep you.
Amen.
Listen, Tim, we appreciate you for coming in with the good word.
Oh, you're welcome.
We are actually going to go ahead and close out. Again, we send prayers out to Kim. We send prayers to Cassandra. And Lady Poet is out there making some magic tonight.
Yeah, I heard.
I can't wait to hear a little bit more about that. Any kind of final words you want to throw in, Phoenix Storm?
I will say, as we come to a close, as you lay down tonight, remember today you did enough. You are enough as you are. And tomorrow does not have all the answers, just your presence. Rest well, be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, be kind, and let peace meet you where the day leaves off. I am Phoenix Storm, and this is another episode of Open Letters to a Survivor. Good night.
Listen, we appreciate you all. The ladies will be back on the 28th, as they're back every 2 weeks now. So they will be back on Sunday, December 28th. That is after the holidays. So they're going to have a lot to tell you about the holidays. And we are hoping to hear it all from you as well. So everybody have an amazing night. And as Phoenix Storm said, you have done enough. We appreciate you guys, and you guys have an amazing evening.